Moving out on my own was supposed to be exciting. My girlfriend and I finally found an affordable flat for rent in Toa Payoh. Sure, it was a bit old and musty. The paint was peeling, the windows creaked, but it was ours. We can make this place our own, I told my girlfriend, squeezing her hand. She smiled. We were both looking forward to our life together. We spent the next few days unpacking boxes and arranging furniture. It was tiring but exciting. This was a fresh start for us. We cooked our first meal, laughing as we bumped into each other in the cramped kitchen. Later, we sat on the floor, surrounded by boxes, and ate. "It's perfect," she said, leaning against me. I agreed. That night I drifted off to sleep, feeling content and optimistic about our future in our new home. I had no idea what awaited us. The first sign of trouble came that very night. I woke with a start. It was exactly 3 a.m. A cold sweat clung to me. The air felt heavy, oppressive. I could hear a faint rustling sound like keys jingling. I sat up in bed and listened intently. The rustling stopped. I told myself it was nothing, just my imagination. I lay back down, my heart still pounding, but sleep wouldn't come. I was now wide awake, listening to every creak and groan of the old flat. Then it happened. The bedroom door, which I distinctly remembered closing, slowly swung wide open. I froze, my blood turning to ice. There was no breeze, no logical explanation. I jumped out of bed and slammed the door shut. I even wedged a chair under the doorknob, my heart pounding in my chest. The next few days were a blur of unsettling events. The musty odor in the flat intensified into a pungent, almost sickening stench, like rotting flesh. It would come and go, appearing at random times, making me gag. My girlfriend tried to mask the smell with air freshener, but nothing worked and the smell kept coming back. Night after night, the nightmares began. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. sharp, drenched in sweat, my heart racing. Each time I'd see the same horrifying image. A tall, shadowy figure with glowing red eyes, standing at the foot of my bed, its long, sharp fingers reaching towards me. One evening, as we were watching television, I saw something out of the corner of my eye. A fleeting movement. A shadow, darker than the darkness itself, floated across the hallway and vanished into the kitchen. I jumped up, my pulse quickening. "Did you see that?" I asked, my voice trembling. My girlfriend, engrossed in her show, shook her head. "See what?" I didn't tell her. I didn't want to scare her, but I couldn't shake off the feeling that we were not alone in the flat. Later that week, I bumped into our neighbor, an elderly lady who lived across the corridor. She had a kind face, but her eyes held a deep sadness. "You're new here, aren't you?" she asked, her voice a raspy whisper. "Yes, we just moved in," I replied. The old lady looked at me, her gaze unwavering. "Be careful, young man," she said, her voice barely audible. "The previous tenant, he died in there. He was only found several weeks later. It seems he hasn't found peace, and I believe he still comes back every night." Her words confirmed my worst fears. I knew then that we had to do something. I couldn't live like this anymore. A friend recommended a Taoist temple in Chinatown. We went there, desperate for help. The temple priest, a wise-looking old man with a long white beard, listened patiently to our story. He gave us amulets to wear and incense to burn. He instructed us to perform certain rituals to appease the spirit. We followed his instructions meticulously, our hearts filled with a mixture of hope and trepidation. The rituals seemed to work. The strange occurrences gradually lessened. The nightmares stopped. The foul smell dissipated. The heavy, oppressive atmosphere lifted, replaced by a sense of peace. We continued to live in the flat for a few more months. While the fear was gone, the memory of those terrifying events lingered. We eventually decided to move out. As we packed our belongings, I made sure to leave behind a small offering of fruit and incense at the altar we had set up. "Thank you for letting us share your home," I whispered, a silent acknowledgement to the unseen presence. And with that, we left the flat, hoping that the spirit within had finally found peace. If this story gave you chills and you want to hear more real Singapore hauntings, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new tale of the unexplained.